Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we ain't doing no countdown tonight. We're getting this show started right now. What is going on, everybody? It is Michael here. Welcome back to another episode, and I am happy to have all of you tonight. So let's get right into it. Anyway, guys, as you know, I went to the OnePlus 10T event, and I also had a chance to get this little gift bag from them as a thank you. We're going to go through everything tonight. We're going to talk about my experience. We're going to talk about the phone. We're going to talk everything OnePlus 10T. But we are on a limited time because we did start a little late tonight, so we're just going to get right to it. So first guest we're bringing on is a local return. A return of one of the best audio reviewers in the game right now. I'm sure you all have heard of this individual. I was so honored to have him last time, and it is great to bring him back. You guys know him, the man, the myth, the GOAT when it comes to audio, digital slang. What's up, big man? How you doing tonight?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming back as always. Also joining him tonight is the Crimson Wonder, the boy wonder of the Cape Crusader, Mr. Latrell Jennings, a.k.a. Yeah, I don't know what else.
I know who you're talking about. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry, Latrell. Listen, it's too easy with you. It's too easy. But in all seriousness, guys, Latrell is another great supporter channel. Me and him have hit it off since the beginning, and it is great to have him back as well. And lastly, another local return. The return of the Prodigy Beanie. The return of the prodigal son. The Beanie returns. Mr. Dennis, a.k.a. Best Phone Plans with Stetson. How you doing tonight?
Doing great. Just came back from Canada, and I could think of no better way to enjoy coming back to the States than being on your show, of course.
That's right. That's right. You guys know. Now, just finished out my Rogue Energy. So let's get the plugins right away. Let's get right to it. So first thing first, as you guys know, this channel has been working very, very hard. You know, we are putting in the work. We're putting in the hours. We're putting in the time. And the hard work has definitely paid off because, guys, if you haven't heard by now, we just recently got a new partnership for a brand new drink company. I am, of course, referring to Slate Milk. Slate Milk is a lactose-free chocolate milk that tastes the same as creamy, delicious chocolate milk, but with only 100 calories and 1 gram of sugar and 1 gram of carbs. Check out slatemilk.com and also use the promo code, the promo code changed to Technoid, so use the promo code Technoid to save some money at checkout. They ship in a 12, 24, and 48 pack. Guys, I'm telling you, it is delicious, delicious as it gets. And it is a great picker-upper if you work out because it's full of 20 grams of protein. So check it out. They've got 3 delicious flavors: dark chocolate, mocha latte, and of course their signature classic chocolate. As you also know, guys, we also have a nice ongoing relationship with Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy is also kind enough to be a part of the journey of our channel. So please, guys, check out Rogue Energy and Slate Milk. Use the promo code Technoid on both links to save money on the next best healthy alternative energy drink and now the next best post-workout drink with Slate Chocolate Milk. Wow, I really sound like an infomercial now with all these partnerships coming in left, right, and center. But no, we really want to take this moment to appreciate the partners. So, enough's talking, enough said. Let's get right down to business. So, story number 1 tonight. Let's get right to it. The OnePlus 10T. The OnePlus 10T event is here. It's gone. And also, by the way, guys, follow me on Twitter at Technoid12. That was where I was uploading a lot of the content, a lot of the stuff from the event. So for tonight's purposes of avoiding copyrights, because I'm also allowed to do this, I'm just going to use my photos and references from the actual OnePlus event that I took and also show you guys some behind-the-scene things that I didn't get to post about. And we're going to talk all about the phone as we go along. So first of all, before we even talk about the OnePlus 10T, I got to ask everybody here. Starting with Dennis, because this is kind of your area more so. No offense to anybody in that tonight. But I want to ask, did you watch the event? Did you know about it? What were your thoughts before we talk all about it?
I'll be honest, I didn't know about it. I didn't see the event. However, when I came in and saw your title, I did quickly Google search it. And I'm looking at, on my other monitor, I do have the phone pulled up with the specs.
All right, so that's good. So we got some info on there. Latrell, I'm sure you've got it. Come on now.
No, I did exactly what Dennis did. I had to Google it for the live stream.
See, you know, it feels so insulting because, okay, so, and also, Digital, go ahead before I keep going because I'm just going to keep talking.
Same. I was working, man. I had to watch it after work.
I mean, you knew I was driving 6 hours, bro. Like,
okay, for that I
I've been
understand.
out all day running, so it's my excuse.
Listen, that's okay. No problem at all. But I'll just say this. Listen, going to this event, this was my first event in the last 3 years. I was 2 years. No, yeah, 3 years. Wow. Time really does fly. But this was my first event that I had been privileged to go to. We're going to pull up the photos right now. So this was me. This is where I got to sit. I sat front row. I was right behind the media. So technically speaking, I wasn't part of the media, but I was still somewhere there. So they put me like one row behind the media. But nah, I'll just say this. When I got the invite that they said they would like you to attend, it was a huge honor. It was a huge honor and a privilege to be able to go there and to really get a chance to meet a lot of great people. So we're gonna go through these photos real quickly. So as you guys can see, we had a lot of like a good time. I went with my uncle. That's my uncle right there, by the way. Shout out to my uncle, one of the coolest dudes you're ever going to meet. But let's shout out the first YouTuber. We met TK when we were out there. I don't know if you guys recognize this man, but if you don't recognize that stash, listen, he is an awesome dude. This is actually my second time meeting him, but this is the first time we've actually had a chance to properly introduce. I think he recognized me, but I was a lot younger when I went to the Samsung event. But I definitely recognized him. We had a chance to chat. We had a few moments to talk about the event, talk tech, but also have a good time. And it was a real privilege to see TK. So I don't know if you guys have heard of TK, but definitely check out TK's channel. He is awesome. He's actually a really cool dude. I know, real quickly.
I'm sorry. I just got to say, you tower over and you look like you're 8 feet tall in the picture.
Listen, listen, everybody... Listen, I know I work out. I'm not that built. I'm just standing up straight. That's just me standing up.
Don't be modest. You're an absolute unit and you earned it.
Just the most stand up, straightest person I ever met then.
Listen, I appreciate the kind words, but anyway, I'm just gonna take this off the screen for just a second. Just gonna make sure we don't get any videos. But yeah, so then the event starts. So I'm trying to get through the videos because I do believe some of it is copyrighted. So the first thing we're greeted to is Robin Liu. I think that's how you say his name. Hold on one sec. Audio's still coming through. Don't want to get hit with copyright. Okay, here we go. So then you see the CEO of OnePlus in North America. And obviously it wasn't Pete Lau. I believe he wasn't there. It was all pre-recorded. So obviously they just had like the most important people from the North American region, and they were there on stage. And basically they started out this event with this whole notion of, listen, we know we've been messing up and we hear you guys. Basically that was the theme of this whole event, was like they said, look, we know you're not happy. We know for a fact that you guys are not happy with the way OnePlus has been. And I think all of us in this chat can agree, as we're about to say. And also, real quickly, shout out to Blaze for the $10 super chat, $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much. And it's a pair character jumping up and down. Appreciate that, Blaze. But yeah, listen, OnePlus has gone down. There's no denying it. They have. And I'm going to debunk a few things they said in this event, but real quickly, I just want to hear what you guys got to say about OnePlus. Let's start with digital. What's your thought on OnePlus?
The old OnePlus or the new OnePlus? Because I'm a big fan of OnePlus. I always have been. I've had every phone since the 6T. Mm-hmm. I like what they did with the 10T. I haven't played with the 10 Pro, although I want it, and I've had it in my cart for about a month. But I like where they're going. They're going back to the old OnePlus, and I hope they keep doing what they're doing for all the specs for the 10T. It looks great. I want to get one. I want to play with it, and hopefully they keep going. Now, I do wish they had wireless charging on this device, but we get the crazy warp charge.
Yeah, well, we're going to get to that because I'm going to speed through these slides. We're going to get right to the spec slides, and I pulled this one up. We'll talk about that in just a second. But Latrell, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, I hope they keep up this momentum, man. Cause look, if you look up on Twitter, everybody talking about OnePlus. Cause what's their model? Never sell. Everybody just like they settle. L ratio. Nobody likes OnePlus anymore. But actually, I fell off of OnePlus after I found out with the Nord, the whole software update situation. So I hope they can bounce back with this thing because it looked decent. Mid-range phone. I'll probably pick it up.
Alrighty, Dennis. I know you are probably going to have a different opinion because from a cellular perspective, I know. But before we get to the cellular aspect, because we will talk about that, what is your thought about the company overall?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't carry a positive sentiment, and it's for a combination of issues. I'll just say, look, OnePlus is a company I used to follow when they were a scrappy startup, right? They very much focused on performance and keeping it simple and clean. And I remember back in the day, they used to do CyanogenMod, and then as time went on and their budget got better and they got some more market share, they started incorporating missing features that I understood they were missing until it became exactly what they were aiming to not be, like, pretty much, which is just another Android phone kind of in the ocean of Android phones, losing that identity for what they for. Looking at the specs on the OnePlus 10T and at a couple of the things, we're getting excited because they're targeting at a price point, which is kind of what they were known for. But I still feel like they're making unnecessary compromises to try to appeal to the masses. Like basically design. They're trying to appeal to form factor, like a visual appeal or hand feel, over like actual functionality. Like they made. I'll just use. I know we'll probably talk on this later, but like the removal of their notification bar.
Okay. Funny story. So, listen, guys, I was there in the front row. There was a dude right behind me. I don't know if you guys watched the event. Somebody screamed it like 3 times. Where's the slider? Like, there was a dude, he was sitting right there next to me, and he screamed out, "Where's the slider?" And everybody turned and looked at him, and he just like there. So yeah, that whole consensus, there were people there that were in that mindset. I'm still one of them. I'm still, but I do appreciate they invited me. But listen, I still have to do my job as a tech YouTuber. I have to talk and give my opinion. And now I was just looking over the bag real quickly, and I realized I actually didn't get a chance to show this. So real quickly what they gave in the bag. This is actually what they gave out of the event. So they had OnePlus labeled bottle, and bro, there was so many memes. So it was like this dude said, "Yo, this is the best water. It's OnePlus water. Hey, never settle for standard water. Settle for OnePlus water." Then they had these dragon chips, which is basically just potato chips. They just call them dragon chips. And then they gave you some hydration fuel, which actually I didn't get a chance to eat. It's a banana, date, and sesame. So actually, I'm kind of curious to try that. They also gave this pin, this nice black pin for OnePlus. They also gave a free pair of the OnePlus Nord buds, so I will be reviewing that. So thanks OnePlus for hitting me up on that one. And they also gave a hat that says "Never Settle," and the OnePlus logo is all the way in the back, so nobody would even know what this hat means. But the coolest thing is actually the bag. The bag is actually the best quality of all. Like, honestly, I could care more about the bag than the headphones.
They spent more money designing that bag than making a quality smartphone. I appreciate it.
You got more stuff than we got at CES 2022 the whole time. We just got bags and more bags.
I saw that too. All right. Listen, I'm having too much fun. Let's get back to the event. So the first thing they talked about was the year-to-year overturn for quarters. They claimed that in North America, their 5G smartphone sales increased by 27%. They really talked a lot about how they had all this growth, but I'm here to debunk that because if we look at the actual market share of North America for smartphone sales, and these are actually based on metrics and real data in real time, OnePlus is not even at 1%. They're at 0.1. So I don't know where they got this number from. Maybe it's because of the OnePlus Nord. Maybe that's the phone they're referring to. But they tried to...
Think about it like this, man. Stats are a beautiful thing because you can cherry pick and make them look any way you want. If you only have one customer and you get a second customer, you had 100% growth that year.
Mm-hmm.
So...
yeah.
So 27% growth, I can believe it. And honestly, I think it's going to mainly be fueled by the fact of their T-Mobile deal and the fact that more specifically, Metro by T-Mobile because they were doing the Nord, like you said, they were doing the free Nords for Metro by T-Mobile when you signed up for them with an unlimited plan on that $25 plan. If you switched from, I think it was Boost Mobile, because they're because they were attacking Boost
Yeah,
/ Dish with that. So I can believe it. I just don't like you touched on though. Their overall market share is tiny, so 27% growth for them is nothing. It might be an extra
yeah.
100,000 sales.
27% of 0, 0. There you go. But yeah, and the dude that was on stage, his name is Christian Anderson. I'm sure you guys have probably heard of Christian Anderson. He's actually a really cool dude. I actually had the chance to talk to him at the end. We'll get to that when we get towards the end of the event. But here he was on stage. Basically, he was talking about OnePlus, and again, the whole idea was to show that they were addressing a lot of the things that people didn't want. So that's when we get the reveal of the OnePlus 10T. And I actually also got to meet Thomas Lappin. Excuse me if I said his name wrong. He was also, I believe, he was the head of strategy in OnePlus Europe. He was actually also another really cool individual. I'll talk about that in just a sec. I also got a picture with him. But basically, this was how they presented everything. So basically, if you guys didn't watch it, they talked about the specs, flagship performance, industry-leading charging, stable connectivity, and ultra-smooth display. So the first thing, they just flashed the specs. He basically just said, "Here it is." And honestly, when I was reading the specs, because I took a photo of it, but obviously they talked about it, I got to tell you, knowing beforehand the price, not knowing the price, but based on the specs alone, I gotta be honest. I was really, really impressed because I knew this was exactly what OnePlus was going to do. I knew going into this they weren't going to put no 765 or any mid range. I knew they were going to do the Plus Gen 1 mobile. The fact that they had a representative from OnePlus actually come out and talk about it was actually really nice. So then we flash forward a little bit because then let's get to the actual phone. So they spend a lot of time talking about the cooling system, which for me, I think that was actually my favorite part of the event was them talking about this cooling. It was a 2.0 system that they had designed with graphic and copper cooling, but also it was a redesigned heat dissipation structure, which also shows that it has a better impact with lower temperatures in 1 minute. They showed, all these simulated tests. They raved about it, but I was very excited. I was really more impressed with how much surface area it covers the phone, because that was one of the biggest selling points because of the performance. They're really going all in on performance. As you know, that's what OnePlus does. They said that this copper cooling not only covers the CPU, but it covers the battery cells. So it helps to keep, when you're doing that 150-watt fast charging, helps keeping it. And also, we're going to get to that just now because that was, but yeah, so that was my first takeaway, my first positive of watching OnePlus. Next, and I'm sure you guys have all seen this, and we're going to talk about it right now, the 150-watt fast charging. Now listen, I don't know what person would feel safe putting a 150-watt charger with their smartphone, because I'm pretty sure I'd be watching it like a hawk until they started talking about it. Then they started explaining. And ultimately, what sold me on this, the thing that sold me, was not the speeds, but it was the way, the structure, the way that they're going to handle this charging dissipation. And it all is with a separate custom charging chip that will not only adapt to the temperature of your environment, it will also be able to throttle the speeds, keep the heat away from the battery. And lastly, apparently from when I was there, they said that the charging speed will also, I believe, self-throttle depending on location, meaning if you're in a place that's super hot, it'll lower it. If it's super cold, it'll heat up the phone a little bit. And again, it all goes back to this heat management and also combining that with the cooling. I was sold right there when the way they presented this. I was just sold. So let me pass it to you guys. What is your thoughts on the 150 watts fast charging from OnePlus? And I'll let Latrell go first.
All right, so honestly, I don't got no worries about 150 because I mean the only issue like you're gonna have with battery is like if it gets hot, right? Like as far as I know, if the battery's cool but it's able to charge that fast, it shouldn't affect it, right? I think. So if it's like that, yeah, I mean 150 watts, look, I ain't never gonna complain about that. But at the same time, no, to be honest, I wireless charge all the time, so it probably ain't gonna matter that much to me. But if I'm in a pinch and I need to run out, maybe I'm doing DoorDash or whatever, or I need to head to FedEx. I don't know, whatever the situation is, and record a video. I mean, yeah, I feel like it'll be cool. It just sucks because I'm sure you're gonna be limited to one type of charger, and what if you lose it and then you gotta buy a new one? And yeah.
Go ahead, Digital.
You know, Dave 2D, you guys know who that is? He dropped a video on release when he reviewed the phone talking about this, and he, you know, did the charging test, all of them, and he went from different rooms, and it did throttle in hotter rooms, and it did take about 10 minutes longer to fully charge in a hotter room. So it does work, and it's cool, but do we really need a phone to charge that fast? I mean, it's nice to top it off here and there, but like Latrell said, I would rather have 65 watt fast charging and give me wireless charging.
All right, Dennis.
So yeah, I mean, just to put it plainly, I'm not concerned about 150 watt charging. I know it's perfectly safe. As Latrell sort of touched on, for anyone that knows how lithium-ion batteries work, it's not about the wattage that you're putting into it; it's the heat that you have to worry about. And this concept of using this custom charging brick to handle that and have some control with a combination of software is nothing really that new. A lot of Chinese phones, specifically made by Oppo, do the same thing perfectly fine. I think it's cool that OnePlus is bringing it to their phones, because their phones are the only ones that really make their way to the US market, and I think some people definitely appreciate it. But to Digital Slang's point, I would rather have a 65 watt charger and have wireless charging as an option than just have wire charging as the sole solution. And the reason why I like wireless charging being there is because it's not so much a thing in the US, but if you go other places like South Korea, for example, you'll find that every airport has wireless chargers all over the place. They're just like built in like tables. The Starbucks there have them built into tables and stuff like that. So it's very convenient. And you'll also notice that a lot of the newer cars, like the Ford vehicles, they have those wireless chargers built down like in the dash, and that's super, super, super convenient and nice. Especially if you're chilling in like a buddy's car or something for like a car ride, maybe you forgot your charger, like he has like an iPhone and you have like your Android. Wireless charging is universal for all, right? It just works. And I like things that tend to be universal in nature, that don't require special things to work just the right way.
Yeah, don't forget, like a lot of people have those phone mounts in the car too, that's wireless charging these days.
Yep, you're 100%, because you know my Teslas and all Teslas, they come with two wireless charging pads right there in the front of the car. I mean, they have a USB-C port, but most people are just going to put their phone down right there and just let it sit and charge. I'll just say this, because OnePlus did at one point, they went all in on wireless charging, and they actually had a 65 watt fast wireless charging system, and it worked. I just don't know why they never advanced it. I don't know if it's on the Pro series. I think did they reserve it for the Pros, or do you know if they carried it over? Because I think it was the 9.
I remember it, Technoid. It had like a fan on the back of it. The problem with a lot of OnePlus's solutions is that they're proprietary solutions. That's the reason why it doesn't advance. If no one else, like, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. OnePlus isn't Apple. If Apple wants to do something proprietary, even though it grinds my gears, they have that kind of influence over the market and everybody will follow suit. If OnePlus wants to do something proprietary, it's going to be like LG, where it just dies. Like, manufacturers aren't going to support it. So like, either they need to license out the tech, specifically Oppo, since they're the parent company, would need to license out the tech and have other people adopt it, or it doesn't go anywhere. People aren't going to just go out and buy specific OnePlus accessories, especially since you can't even get the accessories anywhere in the US as far as like retail goes. I don't even think you could buy it on Amazon. You have to literally go to OnePlus's website to buy their accessories.
Does T-Mobile sell any of that stuff?
No,
T-Mobile still, T-Mobile still, T-Mobile
they sell the phone.
They still sell the phone, yeah. I don't know if they sell accessories.
Yeah, they don't. That's what I'm saying. They don't sell the accessories. They sell the phone, but none of OnePlus's accessories are sold through T-Mobile or Metro that I'm aware of.
They sell cases and
yeah.
things like that, but I don't think they sell official OnePlus stuff.
Yeah, they don't sell because
Yeah.
that was go ahead.
I was just going to say Latrell, but the cases, going back to what I said, aren't OnePlus cases. They're third-party companies, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, it's unfortunate because I actually agree with both of you guys, and I'm not unfortunate that I agree. I agree because I just really wished that they would really license out the technology because that's been a staple of OnePlus. Everything is proprietary to them. I mean, when they do it, it works, but it would be nice. And like you said, they don't have a grip on the market. They're nowhere near ever having a commanding lead. Listen, OnePlus is recognizable. I may have overhyped them when I was talking to Christian Anderson and other guys, and not to just toot their own horn, but because of the way they present themselves. But they're recognizable. You go to Europe, you go to Asia, people know OnePlus. But if you come to America, nobody knows about OnePlus. So they need to keep working, and we'll tread those lines because I do have to keep an area of privacy with our conversation, so I will not go into details. But I will tread nice and easy, so that way we keep it private, whatever. But go ahead, Dennis.
So yeah, I definitely understand keeping private, but I actually need to disagree with you about the recognizability standpoint. Look at the back of a OnePlus, and then look at the back of a Samsung, and then look at the back of another Android phone, right? What about OnePlus is actually recognizable when you look at their phones? What about the design is recognizable at this point?
Yeah.
Because
there used to be. I would say there used to be.
Used to be is the key word here, right? Apple is recognizable. As much as I hate it,
yeah,
they got the ugly looking like camera notch in the corner like this. They got the actual front notch on the front, right? That terrible notch that we all dislike on our screens. That's recognizable, right? Android, Samsung isn't as recognizable in the sea of Android phones. However, my phones are still in my backpack downstairs, but you can still recognize an Ultra phone from Samsung, primarily because they have a distinct, unique camera layout with that like 100x zoom that they like to market, right? OnePlus doesn't have anything that is distinguishable to them, both on the front from a design decision. It's just a hole punch.
There is one thing I just thought of, and I don't know if it applies for this, but the Hasselblad logo branding, because of their affiliation with Hasselblad, a lot of people.
That's not even on the 10T though.
No, because the 10T uses Sony lenses. They're not going with Hasselblad. I think that was another area they try to save cost in. But I think what they're doing is they're reserving the pros with Hasselblad. I think they're trying to give some kind of. But I think that's the only thing. And I mean, if you want to go the OnePlus logo, but again, only reason I say recognizable is because of Never Settle. I think that's what I'm referring to is Never Settle. But beforehand, we all remember their older phone designs. We all remember, the OnePlus staple was also this, at least was like that like, like the camera at the back. It always had either like an Oreo shape or it usually had like a down spiral kind of. These new cameras, I mean, they're trying, but I get what you're saying, Dennis. I completely get it. And real quickly, just to also give you some leisure, they also had, I believe, I'm going to pull it up here. They have a 360 antenna design system. They were also touting a lot of network data. This is something that's already on the 10 Pro, so they just kind of brought it over to the 10T, so that way you'll have better connectivity. So I just wanted to put that in there for you. But so yeah, that was ultimately the design of the phone. Now let's talk about the cameras, because this actually pissed me off. I'm going to be honest. This almost stopped me from not buying a phone. Now, if you're wondering what was it, it's this little goddamn macro lens. We're in 2022. Macro lenses have been they've been phased out. They've been phased out, macro. Look at the back of any, like even mid-range. Hell, even a Samsung A53 doesn't even use a macro lens anymore. That genuinely pissed me off. That pissed me off so much. I almost was telling myself, I don't want this phone. Again, wait till we get to the price. That's right.
Macro lenses are what phone manufacturers do just to add an extra thing on the spec sheet. They're not useful in any application.
Hey, look at this. We have 3 cameras because we said we have 3 cameras.
It's only there to look like the 10 Pro.
Exactly. And the only positive is that they're using Sony lenses. They're not even good Sony lenses. No offense. I mean, listen, they're decent. I'll say that. I checked out the camera quality. They're decent. I'll give them that.
Just the main lens. The
Yeah,
main
just the
lens
main
is
lens. The main lens is good. The other ones, you're gonna really need some heavy optimization. but yeah, the OnePlus 10T, just to kind of wrap up the 10T before we get down quickly to the software, they were really touting a lot with this phone. The 120 hertz AMOLED display, HDR10 plus support. They also got this new color scheme with like apparently they're simulating moonstone. So if you guys ever seen like a book, it's all just literally just matte finish. They also talked about Hyper Boost, a mode that they're using now for gaming. So I guess it showed some real time testings. They finally got 16 gigabytes of RAM in a phone, which I mean, listen, everybody else has been doing that, but okay, cool. The only thing that really stood out for me was the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 and really the charging and also this battery health engine. I think those were the two things that stood out to me was the battery tech that they were putting in. But now let's real quickly talk quickly about ColorOS. Excuse me. See, that's exactly what it was. Really, Oxygen OS 13. So this whole part, I can hear people when I was sitting there. They were talking about this. I just heard people behind me laughing. I was hearing people laughing, and they're like going because it was so. Okay, listen. I hope I get invited to another OnePlus event. I'm not trying to be mean, but I gotta say something. Y'all did the worst. Like, that was some of the worst ways to sell an OS device. That was some of the worst wordings and the worst marketing gimmick you could have used. They said, we are inspired by nature. So we're going to make things look like water. It's going to flow. It's going to have agua. And I'm like, listen, it's literally ColorOS just kind of hybrided, mashed up. You're not going to fool anybody here. Hell, even Max Winnebatch, who was somewhere in the front, he was ripping it while they were doing this. I'm like, well, damn, he's more brutal than me. But in all honesty, though, because I really don't want to talk about Oxygen OS 13 because it's a good software, but if you guys know anything, ColorOS and Oxygen OS are pretty much going to be combined into one. And, you know, from what I understand, they're going to keep Oxygen OS. I think they're going to keep it. They're just going to use both softwares to just kind of make them kind of in sync. I don't know exactly how they're positioning it, but at the event they did show a demonstration where they were going to keep both ColorOS and Oxygen OS, and basically they were just going to kind of like make one software out of them eventually. I wish I had taken a photo of that. I wish I had found the photo, but yeah, I'm not going to waste any more time on that. I really don't want to. But what were your thoughts on Oxygen OS? Go ahead. Anybody can go. Go ahead.
Well, like I said, I didn't watch the event. However, I'm very familiar with Oppo and the Chinese companies because I tend to pay attention to them. And as you touched on, Oxygen OS is ColorOS. Plain and simple. It is just a reskin, rebranding of ColorOS, and ColorOS is not something I'm a fan of. If OnePlus wanted to get back to their roots, they would be going more for a stock Android vibe with ever so small, slight tweaks to support distinct features that they want to incorporate, whether that be software that controls for battery optimization because of their extra fast charging, or just little things that are required and leave everything else untouched.
Mm-hmm.
Oxygen OS is the polar opposite of that, and basically everything in this event is just marketing hype and renaming for things that already exist, both either in Oppo phones or just in the market as a whole.
Digital?
I agree completely with Dennis. They're the same thing to me. Like, it's really that simple. To me, they're the same OS.
Yeah, plain and simple. Electro?
Yeah, I mean, this right here is what it should look like on the original Nord. This is the stock Android experience that we had. And with the whole ColorOS and Oxygen OS, it's just so overly complicated for no reason. It don't even make sense. So I hope they do combine it.
I really would hope that's the solution to go. Like, have one OS for like both manufacturers. but again, it creates a level of confusion. But I will say, I did appreciate the fact that they were trying to make it look like an iPhone. I mean, listen, at this point, Android's trying its best. I mean, Google's got a really good job. Samsung's doing good with the One UI. So OnePlus trying to kind of make up for ground with design and trying to make it look professional. I'll give them that. But yeah, it's Color OS, it's Oxygen OS. It's the same thing. But now let's get to the real selling point. And this was the thing that I think kind of made up for all those negatives was the price. And this was the moment that the entire crowd almost went crazy. When they unveiled that the starting price was $650 and that the maximum one was $750, the entire audience was like, what? Because if you guys know anything about the new OnePlus, they weren't price sensitive at all. They were pricing like like a regular flagship. They were pricing like a regular flagship, but then to have this phone basically be what OnePlus once was, which was supposed to be the flagship killer or the flagship experience, shocked everybody in that room. I'm not even lying. Me and my uncle looked at each other. We're like, "Is this real?" Because even Anderson even said, he was like, "This was the number one most requested feature." It was literally the price. But yeah, so just gonna pull up now some quick photos. That was a price. That was really they wrapped up the event. And oh yeah, real shout out to My Tech Reviews. Had a chance to meet him, Ronaldo. My Tech Reviews.
Rolando.
He was really good dude. I almost didn't recognize him at first, but then I went back to him. I'm like, "Yo, I recognize you now." And I told him, I said, "I like the stash. He has a good stash. I gotta tell you, man. Listen, he cleans it up. It's nice."
Technoid, I can't recognize anybody in that lighting.
Technoid, I feel slightly bad for being extra spicy, although I feel like that's why you have me on. But I do gotta bust the price bubble real quick.
So it's okay. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So at first glance, the price point seems good. Seems real good for what the phone looks like on paper. And I'm not saying the phone is bad by any stretch of the means. I'm just saying it's being overhyped a little here. But we got to remember, we don't live in a void. You can get a Samsung Galaxy S22, which is a true flagship phone, for basically the same price. It's literally like $799, like full retail. And I can promise you right now, I'm looking at Samsung's site. They have it discounted by $100 right now. Just outright. Best Buy is doing a similar thing. And you always got deals, right? Samsung phones are always on deals. And then excluding Samsung, let's look at OnePlus themselves. You can get the OnePlus 10 Pro for $685 from Amazon.
Or S21 FE with wireless charging for probably cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Wait, S21 FE has wireless charging?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
what?
So
I did not even know that.
So here's what I want to say. Like, I'm just gonna make this concise. The phone is a fine phone for what it is. It seems like it's decent. It seems like it's what have you. However, OnePlus did not listen to its audience in any stretch of the word. They have one of arguably the worst OSs on Android currently to date that's available to the wider market, in my opinion. The hardware is fine, but they're making decisions to cut things that I think shouldn't have been cut and trying to add things as like filler that don't add anything to the actual experience. Mm-hmm. And the pricing, it's not in tune for what it needs to be. Like, if they wanted to be aggressive and target that, I guess we'll call it like mid-range or / like flagship. I don't know what we call these now. Like this like breed of niche phones that have existed. They should have came in at $600. $600. And I'm talking about for the 256 gig storage version here. $600, 256 gigs. That would have been a little bit more aggressive. Would have made a little bit more sense, because now you're competing. Instead of competing with literal true flagship phones, which would be like the S22, like in a price comparison, you're now more in line with something like the A53. No, that's too cheap. A72 maybe, something in that range. It gets more comparable, and you're comparing like with like the iPhone SE, and you're looking at like a value proposition for what you're getting at that point. Mm-hmm. This price point, however, puts it right in line with what a Galaxy S22 costs, like pretty much with parity. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason to pick this over an S22.
You know, I just Googled something. Another thing that the S21 FE has It's water resistance. This thing don't even have water resistance. It has IP54, and that's a big one for me. I need water resistance.
Yeah, I was a little shocked when I found that out. Go ahead, Digital. I'll let you say because then I got a final say, and then we'll kind of move on and then kind of wrap up the show because it's gonna be a quick one tonight.
I'm torn with this phone, man. OnePlus used to give us flagship phone, flagship specs for cheap, right? For a really, really good price. But we still have the pro phones in their lineup. So if they want to give us and get back to what they were doing back in the day, like this should have all the bells and whistles for $650. Like it should have everything. If they want to get back to what they, never settle, man. That's what they used to do. That's why everyone fell in love with them back in the day. And I would still take the 10 Pro over this phone.
I also just want to add one more thing. I'm sorry. I know you want to keep the show short, Technoid, but I got to say, it's not even just about raw specs for me. It's about the end product and like the whole experience. A phone and a company that's really recognizable, a phone that I would love to get my hands on to play with, is the Nothing phone. That to me screams aesthetic. Like to me, it's visually appealing from like a design standpoint. And while the hardware on paper isn't incredible, it seems based off reviews that I've watched, it looks like the experience seems to be pretty on point, and it's actually something that's like unique that you can't get from anywhere else. Like everything that OnePlus is doing just feels like that kid that copied the homework and just tried to make it a little bit different. Like there's nothing unique, and it's honestly worse from the original they're trying to emulate.
I got to be honest. Going into this whole event, I went into this event with a sell me mindset. I went in with the mindset of, look, OnePlus, you brought me here. You got a device, sell me. Tell me why I should buy this phone. And I'll be honest, I'm more online with Digital. I'm a little bit more with him. I'm really torn on this one because I have always wanted to try a OnePlus smartphone. I just never wanted to pull the trigger on such a hefty price point for a phone. Like you said, you get a Samsung, you get a Google, it'll probably do better. But at the same breath, I've always wanted to see what everybody craved about with OnePlus. And when I saw this phone, and by the end of it, I thought it's tempting because for me, the price is right kind of where my maximum is, but it's not over the maximum. It's right in that range. I think for me, it's more about giving it a chance. But then there's another part of me that says, but well, why would I want to go with that phone if I know another phone that probably not many people know about that's way cheaper, has almost the same identical specs, and a lot of people probably don't even want to try his phone, but I was thinking of even going with ZTE. ZTE sells their flagship Axon 40 for $599 and $499, and it comes with, I think, even better cameras. Probably not Verizon support, but that's not the point. The point was just for me to try a different phone. But I'm telling myself, why would I go that route if I could go with ZTE? Why would I go OnePlus if I can go with Samsung? Why would I go or Pixel? Exactly. So my point that I'm trying to prove is like I went into this event with a sell me mindset. I went in there. I said, look, you got a phone, sell me. Tell me why I should go with your brand versus going the other route. And look, I appreciate for them reaching me out. I appreciate all the nice stuff. But look, you didn't sell me really. You got me kind of halfway. You didn't get me all the way where I'll pull the trigger and say, I'm going to drop $750. You know what tech company did that for me? Made me switch from iPhone, Samsung. When I went to the 2019 Unpacked event, I went there completely clueless. I walked out saying, that's my next phone. Samsung sold me. And listen, I'm not trying to speak bad here of OnePlus because I enjoyed my conversations with Anderson and forgot his name already. The relationship with Strategies in Europe, his name. I had some great convos with them. We talked back and forth. I got nothing but respect and mutual love for all of them. But at the end of the day, listen, it's probably going to be a good phone for most people, but I feel like it's just not there for me. I don't feel like I can still say I'm going to pull the trigger. Now, I could change my mind. I could probably change my mind maybe in a couple of months, maybe a month or two later, I'll see how I feel. But right now, I'll say the jury's out for me. Jury's is way out. So yeah.
Yeah. I want to say one more last thing real quick. So, yeah. So here's the thing. I know I keep referencing this thing, but it seemed like this thing. And when I first came into this live stream, it's because I ain't really know nothing about it. But I was like, oh yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, whatever. And then as soon as I started Googling more and I learned more about it, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of mid. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I feel like this Nord, the first one that came out, might have might have more features than, and maybe somewhat overall better experience besides cameras and things like that than this, and it's cheaper. It's probably way cheaper than it is now. I mean, I know I'm sure it's behind on updates now, but you get the point where I'm getting at. This had water resistance. This don't even got water resistance. This doesn't have wireless charging. I thought it did at first, but it doesn't. But it has these things. It has the volume slider that we all come to appreciate. This don't got it. Like, what are y'all doing, man? Like, this is a step in the right direction, but this ain't a far enough step. Not in this market. You ain't winning in this market. This market is tough.
Listen, if you live in the US, there's only three phone companies you can buy from: Apple, Samsung, Google. If it's not one of those three, it's not a good phone to use in the US. I had to bring it up at some point, and it comes down to actually being able to use the phone on a network. OnePluses only work on T-Mobile. The Chinese phone that you brought up from ZTE Technoid is only going to work on T-Mobile. Other phones, the three that I mentioned, can work on any network and any exchange of the networks, and are going to work globally too, because it has all the band support, and that's also important to consumers too. Even though they don't think about it, that's probably the most important thing for a phone to support, because what good is a phone if it doesn't get service?
And what's another thing, real quickly, just to jump in, I was wondering, why didn't they put eSIM support? They got all these OnePlus models. Like, that was another reason why I didn't also pull the trigger right away either, because there was no eSIM support. Ever since I've been using Los Mobile, I've been loving eSIM. eSIM's been great, and I want that for Android, so I can take the line and carry it over onto an Android, and then I can use the Android wherever I go. But there's no eSIM support in a OnePlus phone. Now, I think Google phones and Samsung, I think they support eSIM. Definitely Samsung. Samsung upgraded.
Just recently for Samsung.
Just recently. Does the Pixel 6 Pro or 6, do they support eSIM?
I don't think so. Actually, no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
I actually think they do.
I don't know about my 6A though.
I have to look at my 6A too. I don't remember.
Yeah, because I don't know about the 6A. Well, actually, wait. Well, Google Fi, do they send SIM cards, or they just do it wireless?
SIM cards.
Oh, so they send SIM cards.
This does it's asking me download eSIM instead. So yeah, just take eSIM.
Okay, so Pixel 6 is okay. So you see, those are the things that will make me want to consider. So the fact that there's no eSIM support in the phone, that's also another turnoff for me. So most likely, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm looking to upgrade my Samsung Note 10 Plus. I love you, Los. I appreciate you giving that to me, but I definitely want to figure out like a good upgrade, because I use that phone mostly for my testings when I do my reviews. So I'm looking for something that's a little bit more beefy. Sony phones are good too. I actually like Sony, but they're way overpriced for me. But they got the hardware, so I'll give them that. I like Sony though. I do like their company. They make a good PlayStation, that's for sure. But real quickly, before we wrap up, we'll do final thoughts in just a sec. I actually wanted to do something real quickly. I was going to do this at the beginning of the show, but I want to make this like really, really quick segment. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Peter, the English YouTuber, Peter, the Direct YouTube. You got Direct Tech. I'm not sure if you guys heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's on Twitter.
Yeah, he's on Twitter. But he has his YouTube channel. Me and him have had some good exchanges. We're pretty good with each other. But recently, I was going through his feed. So apparently, he's been going in a lot on MKBHD. Now, I'll say this: like, I for many years have always said, like, I don't watch any big YouTubers anymore. I've always been under the same stance, and I'm still the same way. I feel like I'd rather give my view to an up and comer, somebody who doesn't have the view. That's just me. But I respect all big YouTubers. I respect their work, their hard dedication. I respect the impact they've made for the community, because without them, there would be no tech community, honestly. But he brought out a fair point about something, and he made a video about it, which originally I thought was for clicks, but then I actually watched the video, and he called out Marcus for his stance on the Pixel 6a versus an iPhone, I believe it was a 13.
SE.
Oh yeah, respect.
iPhone and an iPhone SE. I think
SE3.
he brought something out, and a lot of people at first, I thought he was gonna get like, I'm actually looking for it right now. Originally, I thought he was gonna get like mad hate because anytime you attack a big YouTuber, a lot of their fans are gonna come right after you. But a lot of the people that were watching and commenting, a lot of them were on his side, and a lot of them have been saying some of the things that not only he's been saying, but a lot of things that I've even been saying. And there's a general consensus right now. Apparently, they're saying that Marcus is out of touch with the general audience. So I want to discuss just quickly about that because I'm not here to question his character. I'm not here to question his work, but I do have to ask the question. Do you guys believe, in your opinion, and also I'm finding it right now, and Pitar, appreciate you letting me use your thing for reference. Appreciate that. I just want to give you credit for it. But do you think that MKBHD is out of touch with his audience? I'll let Latrell go first. I actually want to hear what you got to say.
Oh yeah, I called him out in my video, the Pixel 6a video. Like I said right from the jump, like I saw what he did with that iPhone 13. I ain't like it. Like when I saw that and his recommendation was just get an iPhone, just that's like just the simple, just throw it out there. Just get an iPhone. I wasn't feeling that at all, man. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like he could have definitely did better with that. But at the end of the day, look at his YouTube video, and if you have the return YouTube dislike what's it called? Extension on Chrome or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It don't reflect in his video. So as long as he ain't getting no dislikes, he don't care.
Yeah.
He don't care.
That was the worst thing YouTube could have done. I don't understand why the hell they did that, but that's beside the point. Digital, what do you think? Because listen, Digital, I also ask you this question because me and you and also Latrell and also Dennis, we're in a caliber, like we're still getting bigger, but we're starting to get recognized. And I'm not here to toot my own horn either. I'm just here saying that, after a while, when you reach a certain plateau, you do have to start, being considerate, especially for who's watching you. You have to kind of, know your audience. And sometimes people change. You start out, you say you're going to do this, but then as time goes, as you start getting recognized and you start making all these deals, and sometimes when they get recognized by big companies, sometimes you just like lose sight of what you once were. But I only ask this because I don't know if you've ever felt that way or maybe you've ever had those thoughts, whatever, but what's your take?
I don't agree with what he said. That doesn't make his opinion wrong. He is obviously biased and leans more towards Apple and iPhones than any other device. So if he's a fanboy, he's going to recommend the iPhone SE3 over the 6A. I completely disagree. Trell and I are both on Team Pixel. Like we've had it for a long time and reviewed them, and I think the 6A is much better than the iPhone SE3. And I love iPhones, and I can tell you right now, the 6A is far better than the SE3. But I don't care what he says. It doesn't affect me and what I'm going to do in any way. So I could care less what he says. He's entitled to his opinion, and it doesn't bother me. I disagree with it, but it doesn't bother me.
Go ahead, Dennis. I'll let you go.
I don't think MKBHD lost touch or anything like that. As far as recommending the Pixel 6a over an iPhone, or recommending an iPhone SE 3rd gen over the Pixel 6a, I also don't necessarily see an issue with that in particular. I'm just going to put it bluntly. I don't think the Google Pixel 6a is a good phone in my opinion. I don't think the 6 or 6 Pro are good phones in my opinion either. I don't think Google makes good hardware, generally speaking. I think their software is literally the best. There's lots of features that I find myself missing all the time, like Windows Hello, since making my iPhone my daily driver. But if we're talking about just raw hardware on a device, I don't think that's Google's domain. And if someone wants the absolute fastest phone possible, period, the iPhone SE achieves that. The A14 that's inside of it is pretty beastly. Battery life is a little suspect on that phone, and the design is obviously very dated. But it still takes great pictures. It has an old camera, but that processing takes great pictures, and iPhones do a better job with video specifically than Google Pixels do. Samsung does a pretty solid job with video on the Android camp, but iPhones still hold that crown from like a video recording standpoint. So if your main goal for a phone is just to have something that kind of just works, does calls, and takes great photos and videos, and you're looking at a budget, the iPhone SE might be the better pick. The Pixel 6a has a bigger screen, which I find awesome. It does have some other knickknacks that the iPhone SE specifically is missing, but I don't see anything wrong with recommending an iPhone SE.
No, yeah, I hear you guys. I'm gonna make this quick because I'm not gonna spend any more time on it because honestly, it shouldn't really just be it shouldn't really be a topic, but I just threw it in there to kind of kill up the runtime. I'll just say this. I'll say the same thing that I told Steve Bubble Tech. Me and him are the same way. We think the same way on this particular subject. Marcus is the tech community. Listen, there is no tech community without mentioning him. If you can't name him in your top 5 of some of the best tech YouTubers on the platform, then you gotta watch his videos at least once. At least once. But with that said, though, does that mean that I gotta hold on to everything he says? No. I don't have to hold on to his opinion. Again, that's the beauty of reviews. They're all opinion. They're not factual. They're just what somebody thinks is they like. That doesn't necessarily mean that you'll like it, but they're just saying what they like and what they think is nice. But again, it all comes down to the individual. Now, I will say that I do see why people would think that he is out of touch. I do see some areas in the argument, mostly in the fact of the way he critiques. Mostly, I've watched several of his videos, but I really stopped watching them after a while because they all started to sound the same. So I just kind of moved on from there. But I will say that, with that being said, that's his job. That's literally what his job is just to do these reviews and just say what he thinks. And listen, if he likes an iPhone, he's going to recommend an iPhone. If he likes an Android, he'll recommend an Android. But does that mean that I have to take his word for it? No. I'll go out and buy my own and try it out on my own. And if I like it, that's me. So I don't hold on to everything he says. That's why I get so annoyed when people start coming at me and go, oh man, Marcus is this. And I'm like, but dude, you're taking his opinion to heart. Remember, you have your own thought and mindset. You need to buy the product yourself and try it. Just because he says something doesn't mean that's how you're going to be. Unless, of course, you're really in love with him. But I'll say this. I don't think, for the video that Peter made, I don't think he lied. I don't think he lied. No. But I don't necessarily agree with some of the criticisms that he said. I do agree with a lot of what you said, Dennis. The SE does have a lot of selling points, the processing, the camera. But I think the Google Pixel 6a has a better, at least for me, has better value. I would say I think it has better value. I think it's also better for most people on a cheaper end Android looking for something that doesn't break the bank. And lastly, most importantly for me, if I'm looking for somebody that wants a phone that can do a lot for the price range, honestly, for me, I mean, we all know what we're getting when we buy an iPhone. We don't really need to even say it. You just know. Everybody knows. But when you're buying the Pixel 6a, there is quite a bit to consider. So that's just me. I'm not gonna trash MKBHD. I'm not gonna sit here and criticize him because listen, he does his own thing, and I do my own thing.
I'll just quickly say real fast, if I was going to recommend a phone in that price range, it would be neither the iPhone SE or the Pixel 6a. I'd recommend the Samsung Galaxy A53 5G.
Yeah, hold on. Tech Boy brings up a really good point. The problem is many people look at MKBHD for buying advice. That's been a thing for a long time. Look at Unbox Therapy. Everybody used to go to him for years. You look at Dave 2D. He's another great YouTuber. Everybody looks to these guys. It's just that you can't let them speak for you. You have to be the one going out there and buying the product. You have to go out there and purchase it.
And also, like, this is why you watch multiple YouTube reviews. You don't just watch one video and be like, all right, that's what I want. That's how I know what I need. No, you're supposed to go around watching all these other different YouTube videos, and then you buy it yourself. You figure out what you want, or you can go into a Best Buy store. They have these phones on the shelf for you to play with for a reason.
Also, let's also just touch on the fact that like we're inherently human. Humans have biases, right? And also what's important to me isn't going to necessarily be important to you. Like Technoid knows when I look at a phone, I'm looking for band support. That's what motivates me to upgrade because I enjoy network testing. So having a phone that supports all the latest flavors of 5G goodness with C-band and the DoD spectrum and all that other fun stuff is super uber important to me when I make a phone selection. It's one of my top things I look at before anything else. For someone like Digital Slang, it might be audio codec. He might be looking for a phone with like a quad DAC or something and like a headphone jack so he can plug in his sick headphones and just jam out to some lossless audio on like Tidal or something. Latrell, for you, it might be wireless charging and convenience and battery life because you don't want your phone dying midday. Maybe you're not always around a charger. You know, we all have different things that we find important that's going to reflect how we view the phones and experience the phones and come up with our opinions. And lastly, I'll just say too, something that's also worth touching on, responsiveness is very subjective, right? Like if I give a 60 hertz phone to my dad, he's not going to notice the difference between that and 120 hertz. Me, on the other hand, is someone that plays video games on my PC, has a 240 hertz monitor, 1 millisecond response time, you know, high refresh rate gaming. I'm very sensitive to like when animation stutter happens and with scrolling and how things feel. So like for me, a high refresh rate screen on a phone was massive. In fact, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I said this before when I got it, fixed a lot of the issues that I had with iPhones, generally speaking. One of them was the high refresh rate screen. To me, that was really important because I feel it in my typing when I'm scrolling Reddit. I know that sounds so crazy, but that was important to me. Just like dual eSIM was important to me. That's another reason why I went with iPhone, right? I have all these different phones. I didn't want to have to carry around a phone. I wanted one phone that could be my do-it-all phone. And I have Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile chilling on this phone. So, you know.
All right. Final thoughts, anybody, before we wrap up the show? Final thoughts?
Not that I can really think of. I had something I was gonna say respond to Dennis, but I can't remember. My memory lasts for a good 3 seconds.
Digital, you go. I got one good for Technoid. You go.
Go ahead, Dig.
Final thoughts on what? Like the OnePlus 10T or a Mark?
Yeah, let's. You know what? Let's do a final wrap up because honestly, this segment we did shouldn't have really been a news story, but we just talked about it anyway. So let's wrap up it with OnePlus 10T. Go ahead.
Look, this is going to be actually a whole thing we just talked about. Like no phone is perfect, and like Dennis said, like I'm going to want something different with my phone, just like you each are going to want your own thing. And look, I love tech. That's why I do what I do on YouTube. No phone is perfect at all. No phone. I love iPhones. I love Samsung phones. I love Pixel phones. I used to love OnePlus phones. Hopefully that will come back one day, but I'm just going to get what I like. And I mean, that's it. Just get what you like, man. Get what you want. Don't worry about what other people are doing.
Latrell?
I hope OnePlus can do something in the US because at the end of the day, all that matters is you need to ask yourself, how many people do you really know that have a OnePlus phone? I know one person that I've ever met with a OnePlus phone, and that's not looking good for OnePlus. So if they really wanna have some kind of a wave going on in the market out here, besides just selling phones at T-Mobile, then they need to really put their foot down and get into the. Well, do they sell? Yeah, they do sell phones at Best Buy, but I don't think they have them in store, do they? I think it's just online.
I've never seen a OnePlus phone.
I saw one on the website before, but it was a while ago.
Yeah,
but you get the point. I'm getting at though.
Yeah, absolutely. Dennis, go ahead. You said you had something you want to say.
Well, it wasn't necessarily a roundup about the phone, but yeah, OnePlus makes a cool phone. It's whatever. I'd rather see Sony come back. My final thoughts, though, on something else is I wanted to thank you for having me on the show. Digital, I wanted to personally say it was a pleasure getting to meet you. I love your mic. Your audio quality is definitely on point. Latrell, I definitely appreciated your takes. And to everyone that's watching and ends up rewatching, please make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you clip and share your favorite part, making sure to @DennisBP3 and @Technoid on Twitter. do the hashtag best phone plans, hashtag Technoid channel, get all the hashtags going. Also, we should definitely give a shout out and a sub to Digital Slang. I know I personally, Digital, will be looking up your channel after we get off this so I can check out some of your content. Because I'll be honest, I haven't personally had the chance, but I'm always down to have new creators in my repertoire. And the same thing to Latrell. Thank you both.
Thank you, man.
And you know what? I'm going to end it right there. There's nothing else I can say. So, guys, thank you all for coming in. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Latrell, it is a privilege to have you. Digital, it's great to have you back. You're always welcome to come back on. We'll try to get you on for an audio. We'll try to get you back on, maybe even for more. Who knows? And Dennis, you know you're a regular by now. You're officially a Technoid regular. So we'll definitely be seeing you guys again.
Thank you, Mr. Wine Seller. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Wine Seller.
Hey, Technoid,
Well,
do you want to give a special shout out to your codes again for savings? I know you had that awesome energy drink, which people should probably check out as well.
All right. We'll do it one last time. We got Rogue Energy. Use the promo code Technoid to save 10% off. Remember, guys, every time you use the codes, you are also benefiting the channel, but you're also helping me grow as a content creator with also the company. So make sure to use Rogue Energy, promo code Technoid, and then Slate Chocolate Milk, promo code Technoid for 10% off. You can get a 12, 24, and 48 case. But anyway, guys, that's it for tonight. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. Have a good night. I got work first thing in the morning, so I'm going right to bed after this. Take care, everyone, and